Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have a review of the 30-minute mission series, the Extended Armament Vehicle Cannon Bike. Now, ever since they announced this, I was really excited to try this out, because back in the Gundam Build Fighter series, there was a motorcycle called the Meteor Hopper, and I actually really wanted to get that. But ever since it sold out in Korea, I was never able to see one back in Gundam base for a while, and still I have not been able to get one. Now this is kind of something similar to that, but this is not exactly for in the Gunpla line. This is in the 30-minute mission series. So as you can see on the background, you might see two boxes. That's because I bought two of them, because last week, this technically released last week, but last week was also the release of the Calamity Gundam, so I had to focus on that. And after checking the manual, after purchasing one, apparently you need two that you can actually make a whole motorcycle if you have two. I did not expect the manual to mention that, so I bought another one yesterday, so keep that in mind. Alright, so let me just get rid of the boxes, because they are making the background a little bit complicated. Now, as usual, like any 30-minute mission kits I have reviewed so far, I am not going to show everything that you can do, but I'm going to mention that stuff that the manual mentions. Keep in mind, the 30-minute mission stuff are meant to be customized a lot, so you are able to do much more as long as you have the imagination and the skills. Of course, like when I mean by skills, as long as you have the will to customize, then you can make something really unique on your own. But for now, to make this review a little bit easy, I'm going to mention the stuff that the manual mentions, because yeah, it's going to take forever to show everything. Alright, so before we go over the review, let's talk about components. So actually, just to clarify, if you buy one, let me just get rid of the Alto and see what we get. So let me put this one on here and see what we get. So if you have one, this is how it looks like when you build and complete one. This is the full set, and in terms of stickers, you get two stickers only. One is the main head camera sticker for the Rory unit, this inside the clear piece, and then the other one is actually a scope camera. So that's that. So those are the only two stickers, but assuming that they give you sticker sheets like this, you can also make your own stickers with the leftover spaces. So that's that. And now, technically, if you only buy one, these two parts will be technically considered as leftover parts. But if you have two, they won't. But these are actually used when making the double-wheeled motorcycle. So yeah, so if you only buy one, these would technically become leftover parts. But if you buy two, these things actually do have a use. So keep that in mind. Alright, so that's that as looking at it as a single motorcycle. So let's see what we got. So number one, the main use is, as you can see, is to be used as a motorcycle. So now, technically, these, I believe, story-wise, these are used by the Spinacios, but as you saw in the beginning, these are all also compatible with the other units, such as the Alto unit. Now, keep in mind, the Spinacios are technically taller, and I believe they have slightly longer legs, so you are going to have a little bit more easier time posing with these guys as well, because when I tried to pose with him, it took me a little bit of struggle, but not impossible. So that's that. So you can use it as a motorcycle. So if there is a slight of articulation here, so number one, the handles, they are on ball joints, so you can actually position the ball joints in some sort of angle if you want to do so. So that's actually pretty good. Instead of having like a straight line, you can always reposition it, and this does actually help out, posing with on the motorcycle, because number one, another thing you should notice that unlike Gunpla, this one does not actually have a connector on the seat. Because usually, I believe the Meteor Hopper would have a peg, so you can connect it to this hole, and then connect it to the motorcycle, so you can have a more stable connection. But this one doesn't have anything, so your main connection is going to be these handles. So keep that in mind. And then let's see what we got. So for articulation, you can actually, there is a slight articulation where you can actually move the front section here. But keep in mind, this does not actually move the wheel. This only moves the top section right over here. So don't get confused. And this white section here is actually, as I mentioned, is the Rory unit. I'll talk about this one later. This is one aspect I am not a big fan of at the moment. So here we have the Rory unit. So this is basically like a small drone version as well. So I mean, it's cool, it's cute, but I wish it would have more proper feet as well. So these arms here, these white arms are just pretty much, a single piece they're pretty much molded in, so nothing too special. Here is that other sticker. and you can move these parts as well. And as you can see, there are these other holes here. So there's one, two. So that's on the other side. There's 4, and then we have also this one on the bottom, which actually connects to the motorcycle itself. So that's 5. And another thing that's kind of neat is that according to the manual, you can take off this part, which is actually a ball joint socket. And let me just get an example. Sorry about that. I should have prepared that earlier. You can actually connect some arms here, like that. Of course, the manual does use the example of the Spinaccio arm, but since I have the Alto out, you can also attach an arm to here. So that's actually pretty cool, if you ask me. Alright, that's that. And then let's see what we got on the other stuff. So the other stuff, there's not much use to it, but what you can also do is, let's see, you can take off this part here. Actually, if you're going to make the full motorcycle, you do need to take these white parts out. And you have to take the front wheel off, and then you have to take this bottom section off to disconnect from the, yeah, there we go. So these two parts are actually connected on the middle, so that's that. So you can take these parts off, and I personally am going to take these parts off because the manual doesn't really show these. Or you can, if you want to leave the stand, that's up to you. Now the only part I'm not a big fan of is the sniper rifle or cannon section here, because the end tip is connected as a peg like this. I'm not a big fan of these type of pegs because they do tend to fall off a little bit easily by like a simple snap here. So that, yeah. And the manual does mention too that you can reattach these parts here in some way. But yeah, so you can reattach that, and then you can connect these parts onto the arms like this. So, like that. There we go. So you can kind of connect to have like a sniper arm if you want to do so. Alright, so that's pretty much it if you have a single motorcycle unit. Now, if you have 2 of these like me, you can actually make a whole single motorcycle. And I'll be right back with that example, because it does require some, you know, parts forming. You have to take off a lot of parts, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I finished up the motorcycle mode, and then let's see what we get. So first of all, once you actually make the motorcycle mode, what you should be left with is a extra Roy unit over here, and then an extra rifle part, and these 2 parts here. This is actually the part where the feet goes, but since you only have 1 motorcycle now, you don't actually need 4 of these. You only need 2, so which is why you get some leftovers. So the Roy unit, there's no changes here. It's still the same unit. You can also modify this if you want to do so. As mentioned, you can take the handles off and then attach an arm or leg, whatever you can do. So I believe there was a example pic on the promos where they actually made a whole unit using this as like a head/body. So yeah, if you want to make some sort of a drone type unit, you can totally do that. And as the example, I actually missed a part. So this is the part I connected, but there's actually another part that has to go on here, but it doesn't really matter because this is the peg that actually connects to the arm. So yeah, that extra part actually goes inside the motorcycle. So yeah, but still, it works pretty well, and it does have a really nice look. It does, instead of a cannon, it actually has a much more of a sniper rifle status, if you ask me, but personal opinion. So that's that. Now looking at the motorcycle, so there are some parts I need to mention regarding if you're going to attach a unit here. So here we have these. Here is the Spinaccio Ninja type here. Now it works pretty well. However, there is like according to the manual actually shows a example using a regular Spinaccio, meaning the normal Spinaccio without any of this armor. The main reason I can see that is number 1. So here we can see I actually took off these 2 parts. This part is number 1. The first part is the front skirt. If I can take it, here's the front skirt and here is the back skirt. So the problem is if you actually attach this here, the length doesn't actually match up. So the parts will actually collide with the seat, and it may actually give out a little bit, you know, weird vibes going on here. So you can technically force it, or you can actually just, you know, move it. You can tilt it to the side and work it out. But the back section here isn't as bad as you think, but the front section is a little bit bad. They actually really collide. So on my previous part where he was using a single motorcycle, this was actually tilted to the side a lot. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind. And you know, the Spinaccio doesn't really, the Ninja type doesn't really have the best weapon storage area on the back, so which is why I just decided to attach it here onto the other side. Now the rifle part or the cannon part is actually on here. You just need to slap it on here. But if you want to attach 2, you can do the same thing entirely here. Now when making the motorcycle right over here, they tell you to put the wheel right over here, which at first I thought it was this hole right over here, which was the exact same part as the front wheel, but no, they actually allow you to put it here. But once again, this is the manual example. If you want to make it look longer, you can always attach it on here as well. And another small detail I forgot to mention is that the wheels do spin, but they're not exactly the loose type of wheel, so they are a little bit stiff. And another thing is that now the single wheeled motorcycle, when you move the front section, it only moves the top. This one, on the other hand, actually moves the front wheel together like this. Of course, technically, it's actually the front body just moving together, so that's a little bit a different situation. But still, it's good to know that it works. And that's pretty much it for the review. So the manual gives you the example of a single wheel motorcycle, making the two-wheel motorcycle, using this as a weapon, and the Rory unit. So that's pretty much it what the manual mentions. But keep in mind, this is a 30-minute mission kit, so which means you can totally customize this as much as you want to do. So I can imagine people making a transformable motorcycle, or some people buying multiple of these, making like a four-wheel motorcycle or four-wheeled vehicle, or even more crazier than that. So it's really up to you on what you want to make. But I'd suggest at least getting 2 of these so you can actually make the motorcycle. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the review. Hopefully this review was helpful. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.